Hi everyone, welcome back to Casual Watch Review channel. It's always a good day when I get to review a G-Shock, and one of my favorites, as with I'm sure a lot of you as well, is the square G-Shock. Currently wearing my metal G-Shock square here. This metal one definitely has a little bit of blinginess to it, so I was looking at getting a resin one. A couple of weeks ago, Hodinkee emailed with another exclusive G-Shock, and I went into the email with a little bit of trepidation. I was expecting it to be another limited edition watch, and they've had a few misses recently. That Ed Sheeran watch, total miss. Or the Ben Clymer version that they released, which I think they thought was going to be a big hit. Still to this day, they're trying to sell those. I still get emails about them. The reason that I've not really warmed to a lot of other limited editions, even the ones that Casio have been doing, is because they've been using that very basic module. So I wanted a new G-Shock, a resin one that had a little bit of something different, but was using one of the premium modules. Multiband 6. I would have loved to have had Bluetooth in there, and the tough solar, of course. So I received the email from Hodinkee. It said exclusive all over it. And then when I looked at the watch, I was thinking, that looks very familiar. I don't think that is exclusive. But once I've read more into this version, and the version we're talking about is the GW-S5600U-1, I realized that they're not entirely wrong. They're exclusively selling this in the US because this was a JDM version. And it also has as a module upgrade since that original one. So they're not entirely fibbing. They do have the exclusive rights to this, even though the JDM version of this watch is available. Even on Amazon, you can buy this JDM version of. But one of the things that drew me to this watch was not only the use of carbon fiber in it, but also it was billed as being a lighter version of the G-Shock, and they are not wrong. This watch is extremely light on the wrist. So how are they doing that? Well, first of all, they're using titanium for the back case, which might not seem that it's going to save a lot of weight, but that combined with the other materials that they've used means that this watch is coming in at nearly 10 grams less than a standard G-Shock, and certainly a lot less than this metal G-Shock. Once you wear it, you cannot feel it on your wrist at all. They've done an excellent job of making it just feel so light, and I really like that about this watch. So let's talk about the case construction. 42.8mm case. Hodinkee have it as 13.4mm thick, but it isn't. It's about 12.4. It's in combination with Mizuno, which I know them from their tennis rackets, but apparently they do other stuff as well. I remember being a kid and everyone had, at that time in the 90s, had a Mizuno racket and thought that they were going to be the next Roger Federer, or I forget who the famous tennis player was at that time. They've teamed up with Mizuno and they've put carbon fiber inlay into the strap. And this isn't a carbon fiber effect. I've took some super macros of this and you can actually see the individual fibers. So they really have used carbon fiber that they've then embedded in a resin. I'm not sure what massive advantage that has to it, other than I'm guessing if you tore the strap, that might help it. Over your standard resin strap, I don't know if there's a huge amount of difference, but it looks cool. The other thing I was worried about, because they've used a clear resin on the top, it leaves a shiny surface. So we don't get that matte surface that we're used to seeing on other G-Shocks. I was a little bit concerned where I would have thought that was too shiny, and it isn't too shiny. So I imagine over time, this will mark up a lot easier than a standard resin strap. But if you're going to wear it and love it, that doesn't matter. The paint has seemed to stay on there as well. I've been wearing this pretty regular. The buckle hasn't interfered with the paint, but who knows? Maybe I'll do a follow-up review to this to see whether any of that paint's come off. It seems pretty firm on there. They've used darker grey lettering and then white for carbon fiber inserts, and then there's a grey line down the longer tail of the strap. When you wear this on the wrist here, you can see it on my 7.2-inch wrist. So you still have that little bit of a strap overhang, that little turtle's head popping out. Yes, that was a poo joke. You definitely have that little bit of excess strap. So if your wrist is smaller than 7.2 inches, you're probably going to have a little bit more of an overhang than there. But whatever you do, don't cut the strap. If you've ever cut a G-Shock strap, it looks awful. I don't think there's anyone that can successfully cut down a G-Shock strap to make it fit. Moving around to the front of the watch, we can see it's got a beautiful grey gunmetal colour scheme to the bezel around the LCD. The LCD is backed with that traditional silver backing, so it makes it highly legible, which is something that I think has been a shame on the last couple of G-Shocks I've reviewed, primarily the 30th anniversary Frogman and that 40th anniversary G-Shock. The backing that they've used I don't think has really enhanced the LCD, so in low lights they have been harder to see, but on this one, nice to see, and a very similar LCD appearance to the metal G-Shock, which is obviously twice the price of this. We have the Tough Solar and the Multiband 6. The light is not a glow up and glow down light, it's just an off and on. On the metal G-Shock, it very much glows on and then glows back off again, which I quite like the look of, but this one is just literally off and on, and it's a little LED that's on the side, and you can see that. The front outer bezel was something I was a little bit concerned about when I saw pictures of it, because I was thinking, oh, it's slightly transparent. Is it going to look like those awful shoes from the 80s, those jelly shoes? But in person, it's not that offensive. Visually, because it is slightly transparent, visually it looks smaller on the wrist. Not crazy on those G-Shocks that have transparent elements to them, but this doesn't look too bad. It does have a lot of visual appeal to it. The titanium case back looks awesome. They've done a fantastic job of this. Apparently the buttons are titanium as well. I don't know whether I'm just hearing that from other reviewers, but they look to be stainless steel. They don't look to be titanium. I mean, they're high polished, and they might be titanium, but it does say on Hodinkee website that the metal parts are titanium, so I guess we'll just have to go with that. $250, certainly there is a lot of Square watches, including some of the limited edition ones that are a lot cheaper than this. I think you could probably get them on Amazon a little bit cheaper as well, but I think for $250, you're getting a lot of watch for the money. Extremely light on the wrist, very legible, great backlight. You've got that cool look of the carbon fiber suspended behind that clear resin. Extremely comfortable on the wrist. Looks the business, looks a little bit different. I'm a huge fan of this. More to the point, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'll see you next time on Casual Watch Reviews.